Welcome to In a Flash, a dystopia conversation. This is our very first episode, so you might be wondering what we are and what we aren't. I'm wondering too. But here's how I'm summing it up, for now at least. I'm not a super crip, so you won't catch me in DC Comics or the forthcoming The Flash film. I am a disabled person here with a short, accessible, and sometimes irreverent podcast. I'll offer an introduction to topics important to disabled people and disability communities. For instance, if you had no idea what a super crip was, let me explain. So a super crip is a disabled person who's more or less overcoming their disability. When you see a disabled character on screen, this is often part of the story. So for instance, Daredevil, he's blind, but he's also an oh so capable lawyer, and he is also more or less able to see with his other senses. That's not me. I'm disabled and a mess. I've got stories, takeaways, and disability culture all in 15 minutes or less. Hopefully, along with the mess, you'll find me informative, fun, and brief, because last time I checked, I wasn't wearing boxers. Today, I'm joined by my co-host, Anna Forrest. Welcome, Anna.
All right, let's get into it. Hi, everyone. I'm Anna. I am a mildly caffeine-deprived third-year college student studying psychology, and I am currently recording from my bedroom.
And I am an overly caffeinated disabled poet and educator, Jessica Suzanne Stokes. I'm super smiley with big red hair. If you see me in person, I'd have either my green cane or purple wheelchair, my ways of getting from here to there.
So today our topic is language and calling it what it is. A couple of disclaimers before we get right into it. This podcast is for both disabled and non-disabled people alike, but these are our opinions. Personally, I think they're good ones, but it's important to remember that the disability community is not one homogenous group. We all have different voices. Some of us don't even speak with vocal cords, and it's important to keep that in mind as you go about your life talking to disabled people.
So let's start with the basics, and then we'll dive into stories that will speak to everybody about sort of experiences around this topic. So the basics of calling it what it is. Have you ever looked at a cane and thought, what should I call this mobility enhancing piece of aluminum? Perhaps a wizard's staff? I want you to go back in that thought, right back there to the word cane. Real simple, you had it. We're people like you. And if some of us are magic, I'm wondering why I haven't gotten my letter to attend wizarding school. Next, have you ever encountered a fabulous disabled person and thought to yourself, now what should I call them? Gorgeous? Phenomenal? Erudite? Call me Jessica. But seriously, start with their name. And have you ever wanted to refer to the disability community as a whole? Wanted not to insult us, so you found yourself avoiding that word disabled with every slice of your soul? I want you to say it. Say the word disabled. It's not a dirty word.
It's so funny, Jessica, because all of those three examples have happened to me, and I think have happened to a lot of the disabled community, right? And I think what maybe people don't understand is that a lot of these people that are skirting around the word or talking in circles, they are scared. They're afraid that they might offend us or make us feel uncomfortable. And honestly, I also think there's a little bit of pity there. They don't want to say the word disabled. Maybe they don't know that we know that we're disabled, right? Or maybe they think that we're a little bit less than or not as capable as them because we are disabled. So I think the pity also has some aspect of that as well. But what they don't understand is by skirting around, by not saying the word, by talking in circles or really avoiding that word with all of their soul, it's making it a lot more uncomfortable and honestly a lot more offensive than if they were to just say the word for what it is, disabled.
Right? They may think that they're just scared of hurting our feelings, but it comes off as them being scared of us. I think your example makes it also clear. Yeah, so our episodes may be brief, but they are mighty. We'll start by introducing you to a topic important to disabled people. Today's topic, call it what it is. Then we'll lean in and limp through some stories to help you connect that topic to everyday life. Finally, we'll end with practical takeaways, this isn't just an info dump, but a way to change your everyday.
All right, let's get into some stories. So immediately when I heard about this topic, I was like, oh my gosh, I have a million things to say about this. And I have so many experiences just walking around in the community as a blind person with people just not really even knowing what to say to me, right? It's kind of interesting the different things that they call my cane. It's been called a stick, a walker, a walking stick. At some point, someone even thought it was a fishing pole.
Wait, what? You're gonna have to tell me more about that one.
To be fair, I was on a pier, and I guess it does bear some similarity, minus the reel and the string. But he's forgiven. It was a reasonable mistake. Another thing that happened that actually reminded me of it, Jessica, when you were talking about the wizarding staff in your earlier introduction, was I actually went to Universal Studios in Orlando when I was a little bit younger. We went to Harry Potter World, and wands and wizarding staffs are very, very common there, right? So we were in Ollivander's wand shop, and in this wand shop, he does a demonstration where he picks one person to wave the wand, and in the end, they get to keep it, right? And so
they basically get their Hogwarts letter.
Exactly, yeah. And I wanted it so bad. Here I am, little 13-year-old me, like, pick me, please help, right? And so I really wanted to get picked. Unfortunately, I was not, and he picked some other little boy who might have been a little bit more deserving, but I don't care. I was pissed. But in the end, he comes back and he looks at me and he goes, "Oh, well, I thought you already had a wand," obviously pointing to my cane, right? And I'm like, okay, here I am, very disappointed. To be fair, it was kind of funny, I guess, but I just thought it was really interesting how what was meant to be a joke in the earlier part of the episode actually can happen in real life. And that's just to get into the things that people have called my cane, not even to mention the things that people try to do to avoid saying the word blind. I'm like, my goodness, it is a 5-letter word, but really they do like to avoid it like the Black Plague. Sometimes they say visually impaired, sighted impaired. I've gotten person without sight a couple of times. It's just so much easier to say one small little word rather than to go in circles and to ramble about things that don't even really make sense to my situation, right?
Yes, I am thrilled to be in conversation with a badass blind student and human being named Anna today. And I just wish that people would say the word, call it what it is, lean into thinking about disability as an enjoyable part of everyday life and part of what makes it vibrant. Okay, so my story on the topic is, I just want to take you there. So picture this. We're at the DMV in Davis, California. 5 hot, sticky hours of waiting have passed. Basically, my butt is sticking to that squeaky plastic of the chair at this particular moment. And it's not a great scenario, but it's finally my turn. I get up to the desk, and there's a smiling woman. Shock. It seems like it's a happy DMV experience, not the stereotype. I have every document there, except for I was not given one of the correct forms that I needed at the beginning, and it requires some object from my car. So I'm told by the woman at the desk that it's fine if I go get it and come back in. I go get it, I come back in, and she is poofed. I don't know who used their magical cane to do it, but I'm gonna find them, track them down, and figure out what's going on. So I have to start the line over. The wait time, the wait time's now more than 5 hours. I am internally screaming, similar to that noise you just made, Hannah. And I'm also near tears. That sort of like anger has turned into frustration, has turned into falling apart. And I'm trying not to call attention to myself with my big red hair and purple wheelchair, but I take up a fair amount of space in the world. And so I'm noticed. And another woman who's been waiting at the DMV for a long time, she starts gesturing emphatically, and she wants to help in her own way. And so along with the gesture comes this line: "The handicaps go to the front of the line," she says. The sign says the handicaps go to the front of the line. Now I turned to look at the sign, and it's the universal symbol for access. Perhaps you've encountered it. A little white stick figure sitting in a cup C on a blue background situation. And it does not say anywhere the handicaps. But at this point, everyone in the swarming mass of people making this wait time creep higher and higher has turned to look at me. They're looking at me, they're looking at the sign, and I'm just there thinking, the handicaps? Why the article? And will I ever be a person again? I wish that I had had the energy to correct this sort of moment, but I said nothing. Perhaps everyone there is now out in the world calling disabled people the handicaps. I accept my trip to the front of the line and this stranger's questionably worded but deeply felt advocacy because I don't want to get a bed sore waiting for more time. Now, though, I'm not so sweaty. I just did a smell check. It's all right here in this kitchen of mine, and I can right my wrong. Dear advocate, I presume since you wanted to help, you wouldn't mind learning this too. Disabled people do indeed go to the front of the line at the California DMV. Again, that's disabled people.
Oh my gosh, Jessica, I was internally screaming with you throughout that entire story. The cringe was so palpable there. And just the fact that it made everyone in the room more uncomfortable, right? Not just you, but also the person pointing at the sign, the people around you. No one felt at ease, I think. And I think that just goes to show that saying the word is a lot easier and comfortable than trying to skirt around it. But takeaways. I think the major one is to make sure that you listen to the disabled people in your life and what they want to be referred to as. If someone says, call my cane a walker, you should call it a walker. If someone says, call me the handicaps or call me sighted impaired, you should do that too, right? These are just the things that are more widely accepted in the disabled community, but it's important to keep in mind that we are individuals. We are not all the same person. We're not one homogenous group. And don't be afraid to say the words that describes us.
Right. Respect our choices and then start saying that word disabled. Say it in the mirror. Say it to your pillow before bed. Say it all the time. Say the word as a social media campaign started by disabled performer, activist, and spokesperson Lawrence Carter Long. His original post on the subject said, if you see the person, not the disability, you're only getting half the picture. Got to broaden your perspective, and you might be surprised by everything you've missed. Hashtag say the word, check it out on Twitter, and keep learning from disabled people. Now, get out of here. Go forth. You've got work to do.